All right, guys. Let's start getting a seat here. Today, you're going to learn how to run and read an illustration.
Hey, how are you? I'm losing my test.
No, because I'm going to give you a different answer. It's more. You know, when you come, Jason, you're going to sit in the room where I'm over. Yeah, where Olga normally sits. But she's normally not there, so when you come, just go in there. Then you sit in my desk.
What are you doing?
I rarely go in I'm always hiring. I'm constantly hiring.
Is it a production?
Yeah. All right, let's get going here. Come on in, guys. Come on in.
Probably.
All right. Hey, you can pull up that illustration from here, right?
Yeah.
If you could help me pull that illustration up. All right. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. You know, one of the most important things that, I've learned from the wealth planning is that everyone needs to have a great wealth plan. I've been learning about infinite banking. That is a very, very powerful concept that people really don't take advantage of. So tonight, that's one of the things that I'm gonna hopefully be able to share with you is the concept of infinite banking. Okay, that's one of the concepts I'm going to share with you today. But one of the things today is we have our wonderful representative from Transpacific here, Jason, who's going to be here to train you on illustrations. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up something. I'm going to share with you an illustration that I found that was really powerful. Okay. Okay. I'm going to share with you an illustration that I found that's really powerful. And so On Friday, I went to take the exam. And I don't know if you guys got my message last week, but man, I was sick. You guys heard my message I sent everyone, right? I had no voice. I was sick with the flu the whole entire week. And on Thursday, I picked up my study materials for the very first time on Thursday, and my test was on Friday morning. Okay? So I studied on Thursday for a few hours, and I was always in and out of sleep because I was like on all types of meds. And then on Thursday, I went in there, took an hour to take the test because I just flew through it, And then after an hour, passed no problem. Okay? So, man, all of you guys should be able to take it. All you guys should be able to pass it, no problem. Okay? Now, hey, Jason, can you pull up the illustration for me here? So I get. All right, so I'm going to show you guys what an illustration is and the importance of being able to understand an illustration. Okay? In what we do, team, managing someone's wealth is very, very important. Okay? In what we do, managing someone's wealth is very important. And this was a scenario that we ran for a client that we had a month back or a couple months back. Okay, for a client. This client wanted to put away she had some extra money, sold a property, and wanted to put away $500,000 into an Allianz account. Okay, wanted to put $100,000, $500,000 into an Allianz account. Under this plan, okay, you would put, and then she was around 45 years old. She would put in $100,000 each year for 5 years. And by the time she's 65, just let the money ride. After she put in their money, she would be able to let her money ride. Okay? Because some of you might be in that situation. You're around 40-something years old. Okay, you're around 40-something years old. All right? You have some 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 good years. Whether the good years be you sell real estate, good year you sell some of your portfolio, but first 5 years put away $100,000 each year, and then you just let the money sit. You just let the money sit. By the time you're 65 years old, you could take around $120,000 a year out of this account, and you could do it for basically the rest of your life. You could do it for basically the rest of your life. I don't know about you, but from now until the time that you are 65 years old, and this goes all the way out to you're 110 years old. And even by this time, you have not fully used up the amount of money you have available. So, that to me is a very powerful plan. That for me is a very powerful plan. Does that make sense?
Which year we need to start it?
Well, this person started when they're 40. This person this year started from when they're 46 years old. When they're 46 years old, this person started this plan. Okay? Now, let me show you something. Within this plan, there's a death benefit. That's right here. So from now until their time they're 65 years old, okay, from now until the time that they're 65 years old, they've already put $500,000 into this plan. But from now until the time they're 65 years old, they've put no more money into this plan. But if they die from now until the time they're 65 years old, for the next 20 years, and believe it or not, you know who this person could be? It could be me. I'm 44. I could wait a year and start putting money in. But I want you to understand, what these plans look like drawn out. Because the reason why this is important to all of you is because the client that buys the homes from us are the 40-somethings, are the 35-somethings. If you're 35, you don't have to put $100,000 a year. You might even put half of that, $50,000 a year for the next 5 years. And after that, you just let it sit. You let the money sit. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I was making the money that I did back when I was 30 years old, and I had my Coldwell Banker offices and 1,000 agents, I had my Global One lending with 8,000 loan officers, my $100,000 was my income for the day. It wasn't my income for the month. I remember my wife asked me one time, because we had a little bit of a misunderstanding, because I was telling her, why do we need cable TV in our, it was funny because it's a true story. She was asking me, well, why do you need cable TV? And this was at that little house on the corner there. That used to be my Coldwell Banker office, remember? And of course I had other offices, but that was my main office. And we were talking, and she goes, well, I said, why do we want to have cable there? And she said, well, why not? I said, it's wasting money. And she goes, well, do you know how much we make? I said, no. And she said, we make around 100. And I said, well, a month? She goes, no. And I said, a year? She goes, no. She goes, after, normally when I go to the office, I cut checks and we close transactions. And at the end of the day, I pay everyone out the checks. And, and after the end of each day, every day, we make around 100 a day, and the thing is that was when we had 1,000 agents in the company. Okay, that's when we had, of course, 8,000 loan officers. So you can imagine how many transactions we closed. And so the thing is that, I don't know if those days will come again for me or you or anything like that, because it's not like that now. That was when even dogs could get a loan. Remember those days? Luis, remember those days?
Yeah.
Mr. Luis Ramirez back there used to be able to close 50 loans in a month. Right, Luis?
Yeah.
50, not one. Luis used to be able to close 50. He always had 2 young, cute Asian assistants, always. Huh. No, so that's the truth. But those were the days, man. Even dogs could get a loan. Remember those days? Well, the thing is,
Do you give me permission to write them down?
So here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is that from the time your client buys the home, from the time the client buys a home, okay, there will be a point in their life where they're going to have some money to put away. Some of you will have even real estate years where you're looking to put $100,000, $200,000 away, okay? Imagine you have a good, 5-year run, and each year you can put away even $100,000. This person that we had as a client wanted to put $100,000 away each year for 5 years. Okay, you put the money in there until you're 50 years old, and then you let the money sit and grow. If it grows at the 6.9% interest rate that this illustration is run under, okay, if it grows at the 6.9% interest rate that this illustrator is running under, by the time that you're 65 years old, you can retire with $120,000 that you can take out of this policy every year for the rest of your life. Okay? And this is only allowing the money to grow for 15 years. Does it make sense? Once the money is in there, you only allowed it to grow for 15 years. Now, during the 15 years it's growing, what is the death benefit? The death benefit during this whole period of time is $2.5 million. Okay? When you start taking the money out, you can take it out, and then during this time, if you pass away, during the time you pass away. At 70, you pass away, you get $1.6 million in death benefit. But you don't realize that you already got done taking, $800,000, $900,000 already from income. Does that make sense? The reason why the death benefit is less because you already took all that money out. So yeah, the death benefit is less.
I think we need to find a old person.
But here, think about it this way. I talked to the client and I said, I want you to compare this $500,000 to $500,000 you would buy in real estate. Take the same $500,000 and then let's take $500,000 you buy in real estate. In real estate, you take the same $500,000, you buy 2 rentals, and you're renting those properties out maximum for $1,600, even $2,000 a month, and you have 2 rentals, so $4,000 a month. Each year, you're making 50 grand. Each year, you're making 50 grand. Okay?
So you're saying that 500,000 at 65 is still sitting there, right?
You can buy property, 100,000 down, 400,000 low.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time, it will be the same more worth.
No, not necessarily, because the same $500,000 properties in 15 years, not necessarily those two $500,000 properties are going to be worth double.
Could go down.
Not necessarily the two $500,000 properties will be worth double. Will be worth $1 million a piece. $1 million. Yes.
I think the million is true. Like property, you can't, based on your credit, you can take money out.
And
you can always say.
Yeah, based on in the next 15 years, no guarantee that $500,000 worth of property will be worth $1 million. Okay?
No,
wait, hold on, man, gender. Okay? You're not allowed to talk right now, okay? All right? But this account, the accumulation value is $1.3 million. Real estate, if you're lucky, it might have doubled in price, and your $500,000 worth of property is $1 million. Over here, if you get the interest rate even at 6.9%, your accumulation is in the 1.2, 1.3 million range. Okay, that's the range that's in already. It's more than real estate sometimes, and I'm not saying real estate is not an awesome thing. It is, but what I am saying is that these illustrations show that if you have this person who's not used to having a rental property, you have this person that's not used to having rental property, okay? No guarantee that they're going to be able to keep that property for 15 years. No guarantee that during that 15 years, they're going to be able to keep the property occupied. No guarantee that they're not going to have a lot of headache over property if you're not a seasoned investor. But with all the repairs, everything like that. But under a system like this, in the next 15 years, you're growing money. And then if 15 years from now you pass away, over here, you have 2 properties, and even if the property is worth $1 million, you're paying capital gains on that $1 million worth of property, you're down to $600,000. Over here, if you pass away for some reason, your kids don't have the 2 properties worth $1 million. They just get a check for $2.3 million that is tax-free.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of us, when we plan for our kids. A lot of us, when we plan for our kids. And some of us, like for example, my mom is a big believer in real estate. So she goes to me, Robert, when you die and you pass away, you should leave your kids houses and real estate. Yeah, I believe so. When I pass away, I have buildings. I have this building. I have buildings. I have, different centers. I have rental property that I'm going to leave to the kids. But what sometimes I don't think about is when I leave my property to the kid, I leave this building to the kid. Let's say this building is worth $2.5 million, and by that time it's going to be paid off. What my kids don't understand is I leave this $2.5 million property to my kids. My kids are going to have to come up with $1 million somehow. My kids are going to have to come up with $1 million somehow. If not, they're going to have to sell this building. and all of you guys will have a new landlord. If for some reason I died in 10 years, right? And everyone's gonna have a new landlord. But on the flip side, so you take a policy like this, and you say to yourself, okay, I want to have $500,000, and I'm going to come into some money. Okay, I'm going to come into some money. Okay, and if I come into some money in the next 5 years, I'm going to buy $500,000, two houses. And if I buy two houses, then of course during those years I can take out income. But then at the same time, I have to manage property and I have to manage vacancy, okay? All right? If I'm lucky, 15 years from now when I'm 65, if I pass away and I leave my two kids, those two homes, I pray to God that my $500,000 properties, okay, my two properties that are $500,000 are both going to double in price. There's no guarantee because I don't know about you, but 10, 15 years ago in 2000, in 2003, prices were at its highest, and the prices are exactly what they are now. So who knows? You buy a property 5 years from now, 15 years from now, it might be worth $500,000 because it might have gone up and it might have gone back down again. Who knows, right? But even on its best day, my $500,000 for two properties are worth $1 million. If I die and I pass on that $1 million in those two paid off properties to my kids will have to come up with a way to get $400,000 to pay for those inheritance taxes so they could keep $600,000.
Put it under a trust.
But still, you put it on a trust and you transfer the trust, you still have to pay some kind of, they still have to pay some kind of tax for getting the estate.
Only the trust change.
Well, we'll see, okay?
No, if the trust value is more than.
Yeah, because there's some kind of value in there, okay? There's some kind of value in there. But under this plan, and I'm not saying real estate is the bad plan, because I am going to leave my kids real estate, okay? But under this plan, you take $500,000, put it away. By the time they're 65 years old,
The webinar, but I could hear it.
they get $2.4 million. If you don't die, by the time you're 65, you start taking out income. And you can take out $120,000 income, okay, for as long as you live. You can take that money out. How does it affect the policy? Then basically the cash value of what your kids get goes down. Okay? All right? Okay? But let's say you don't pass away until you're 75 years old, but during this time, you've taken $120,000 out 11 times. You've already pulled out $1.2 million, $1.3 million. That during that time you could have used it for yourself or for your kids. And when you pass away, your kids get still $1 million here, tax free.
Tax free. That's the plan.
Does it make sense?
It's an index.
Tax free to
It's
my
an
baby.
index universal life policy.
Is there a maximum?
Maximum funded.
Okay.
Yeah, maximum.
How much?
This one is 100.
And you don't need to pay property tax and
How much is the maximum?
No, there's no such thing as property taxes.
100,000.
No such thing as yeah.
The big benefit is the
Five-
living
520?
benefits while you live in, so if you
520.
have $1 million property, you're not gonna get $10,000 every month.
For a year.
Right.
There's two rules here.
Now, one of the things is a concept.
So much and
Yeah.
overall.
Those money you pull are tax
So
free.
the 1 year.
Yeah, the money you pull.
20 per year.
Yeah.
No, you can only put up to.
You see? So a policy like this, for me, because for me, I'm a numbers guy.
This amount.
I had the moment I saw something like this, I had to compare it to real estate. Because remember, we're experts in real estate. And so when I said to this client, okay, because the client, and this is a real client that Jason pulled this thing for, she had $500,000 to put away. And she was asking us, does she want to put it into buying a couple rentals, or does she want it to do this? And this is the true story. Do we do a couple rentals, or do you want to do this? And when we compared the two, and we said, these are the pros and cons of real estate, And then this is the pros and cons with this. For her, the fit was better here. Does it make sense? For her, the fit was better here. Okay? For her, oh man, I'm 45 years old, and if I put her money away, when I'm 65, I can pull my $120,000 income for the rest of my life. And I have $500,000 to put away now. Okay? For her, you know, from now until the time she's 65, does she want to leave $500,000 in real estate? But if she died suddenly, she has a 6-year-old, she has a 14-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 24-year-old, and she's a single mom. For her, if she died from now until she's 65, then would she want to have her kids have two properties with $500,000, maybe some appreciation, or would she rather have her kids have $2.5 million, tax-free? The $500,000 that she leaves her kids, if the property values don't go up, she leaves her kid $500,000 in real estate, the kids might end up only keeping $300,000 of it. Okay? But she puts $500,000 in this. When she dies, her kids get $2.5 million tax-free. If she lived, by the time she's 65, she take $120,000 income every year for the rest of her life. And if she dies at 75, she's already taken $1.4 million out, where her kid's still left with $1 million. Still better than the real estate she could have left them, and the $1 million here tax-free. So when you're talking to people and you say, okay, let's put a very simple plan together. What do you want to do for your family? Under this plan, she did it for herself. She also did it for her family. She don't have to worry about vacancy. She don't have to worry about improvements. She don't have to worry about tenants tearing her house down, because she's a single mother of 4 kids, and I don't think she has time to manage these properties. Does it make sense?
I don't think the income is tax-free.
Huh?
The income part is not.
No, because this is not income. This is money you borrow from the policy.
You have to buy.
But let me ask you something. You borrow the money that you never have to pay back, and you take it as income. It's the same thing. You use it to buy food, you use it to buy cars, you use it to buy vacations and buy gifts. It doesn't matter. When she passes away, she's already taken $1.3 million out, and her kids get $1 million tax-free. None of it is ever taxed. You understand?
So you can't touch it for 15 years. Is that what it is?
Because the 15 years is the waiting period for it to accumulate a value.
Okay.
So by that time, it's accumulated so much value that the money you're taking out is basically just from interest. Does that make sense? You see?
So what happens if you leave it until you're 50, or instead of 65, you leave it until you don't touch it till you're 70?
Oh man, then you get that much more income. You know, you get that much more income. So what I'm saying is what she's buying the short-term protection for her kids is way better than $500,000 in real estate. She's buying the long-term dignity for herself, that when she's ready to retire, she has $120,000 income. If she takes it out at 65, she takes it out at 70, it's just that much more. Okay? And that's what she's buying for herself. And she's buying that protection plan that when her kids get money, they get the money tax-free. Okay? When the kids get the money, they get the money tax-free. I'm going to tell you something. In our lives, we're going to have 5 good years. And when I have 5 good years or something, I want to be able to put $100,000, $200,000 away in a policy so that I know that by the time I'm 65, I'm covered, I have income. And then from now until then, if something happened to me, my kids are covered, tax-free. Does that make sense? And these are very powerful things. You know, one of the most powerful things about taking income out is something that I thought was very powerful, and I explained it in class today. But for you, I'm going to explain it again. It's called infinite banking. I know that a lot of you, how many people in here, raise your hand, have ever had a doctor client explain to you a concept called infinite banking before? I explained it to you.
Yeah.
But how many people in here have ever heard of infinite banking? Okay. Luis, have you heard of infinite banking? Yes? Have you ever heard of infinite banking? No. How about you, Armando? Have you ever heard of infinite banking? You know that a doctor client of mine just sold her practices for a lot of millions of dollars, okay? And she's going to be sitting here with us soon because she's getting her insurance license. She's joining us too. And and she's a big time doctor that sold her practice for like, I think $40 million or something like that to a big company, a big medical group. And then she's gonna be joining us here soon. And she was explaining me the concept, and we have that same concept here. I explained her the concept, and then she explained it back to me. And she goes, "Oh my God, this is an awesome concept because this is what we do in medicine. When you own a big practice, you spend a lot of money, right? You spend a lot of money on medical equipment. You spend a lot of money on supplies. You spend a lot of money on staff. You spend a lot of money." So I said, "Well, how do you do it?" And she goes, "Well, it's very easy. Before I spend a dime, I invest it and then I borrow from it. Before I spend money, I invest it and then I borrow from it. These accounts, depending on the carriers, allow you to do what we call infinite banking. Do you guys realize that when you put money and you feed these accounts, these accounts generate a value? Okay? Is that right, Jason? They generate value. And what is that value called? Account value, right? Well, as you feed these accounts and the account value goes up, or right? When you feed these accounts and the account's value go up, you borrow money out of that account. Remember that when we're in LA? And when we borrow money, aren't there participating loans that let you borrow like 5% fixed, right? But these policies grow over the course of time 7 or 8%. So let me ask you something. If you were to buy a car, and we buy cars, we pay for our rent or our mortgage, we pay for our clothes, we pay for our food, we pay for everything. So the money we make, we use to pay, right? But think about something. What if before we paid for that car, let's say $80,000 for that car, before we paid for that car, we took the money and we fund these accounts. We put the money in here first. And then from here, we borrow against that money to go pay for the car. But the money that's put in here makes 8%. The money we're borrowing out cost us 5%. Can you imagine that anything we spend on food, we spend on clothes, we spend on vacations, we spend on house, we spend on knick-knack stuff, and we spend on luxury stuff. But before we spend on things, we put it into the account that grows at 7 or 8% a year over the course of the last 40, 50 years. Because this takes time. Some years will go down, some years will go up. Well, our money goes into this account, and then we take the money, once we put it in, we borrow against that money, we take it out, and we use that money to pay for all of our expenses. We use that money to pay for our mortgage. We use that money to pay for our car. So imagine, right now, if I want to pay $80,000 for a car, I just go, take my money and pay $80,000 for a car. The money's gone, I have a car. Infinite banking, the idea of infinite banking is you take the money, you put it into one of your infinite banking, vehicles, you put the $80,000 there, then you borrow against it and take the $80,000 back out as long as it's accumulated enough value. You borrow it again out, but you use your $80,000 to buy the car. You're paying 5% on that money, but the $80,000 you put in is making 7 or 8%. You're netting out 2 or 3%, but it's really not netting out 2 or 3% because if it's growing at 7%, then the rate at which it's doubling, is every 7 or 8 years. So it's not like you're a net 2%, you're a net a lot percent because when it doubles, it keeps doubling.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is, imagine if you had set up something like this 20 years ago, and then for the last 10 or 15 years, every dollar you spend, you're still making interest on it and it's still accumulating for you, it's still doubling for you. How rich would you be? If all the money you made in the last 15 years, you're still making interest on that money and it's still growing for you. Imagine if you were able to do something like that. how powerful, how successful would you be? Does it make sense? Big time hospitals, these big time companies, that's what they do. They create these infinite banking accounts. And they even have a term for it. It's called infinite banking. She goes, yeah, I do that right now. That's how my business made so much cash. Because anytime I spend anything, I put the money into an infinite banking account first. I put it in there, and then I borrow out, and then use the money. So instead of using the money and it's gone, you put it into an infinite banking account, and you become your own bank. You understand that? You're banking your own money. You're making on your money. You're making money on the money that you're spending. Right now, the money you spend is gone. Imagine you're able to create a system where you can make money on the money you're spending.
Where is the infinite banking making that 8%?
What's that?
How is it generating the 8%?
That's the average you make.
In the course of these types of vehicles, the 40, 50-year historical is over 7.5%. Okay?
So it's investing in stocks or something?
It's investing in all types of marketplaces. And the thing is that what I want you to understand is, and then here's another very powerful concept. And Philip Hu explained this concept very powerfully. And I want you to remember something, okay? The new types of products have something that's so powerful. You know, the previous products, when it came to these types of accounts, okay, are variable products that variate with the marketplace. 1 year, your interest can go up 10, 15, 20%, and the very next year it can go down 25%. And 1 year it goes up 14%, next year it goes down 8%. There are some big gains, but there's some huge losses. Do the math. Do the math on something. You have $100,000, but you lose 10%. Do the math on something. You have $100,000 and you lose 10%. You're at 90,000. So you think if I have that money, the next year if it goes up 10%, then I'm break even. No, because if it goes up 10%, you're at 99,000. It takes a lot more to recover from a loss than it does to gain. Okay? So the policies that are out there, they have what they call floors in them. It's like a staircase. And that's what you explain. The floors that act like staircases, years that go down, you don't have the hit of the losses. Years that go up, you gain the ups, but you don't lose the downs. Does it make sense? Years that go up, you get the ups, but years that go down, you don't lose the downs. It always goes up. So that is a perfect vehicle for infinite banking. Perfect vehicle for infinite banking. See, these are concepts that are being used in the medical profession by big hospitals and big time clinics. And now we're allowed to be able to bring these concepts to the everyday individual of infinite banking. Isn't that powerful? Isn't it powerful? Isn't a product like this, and I'm going to explain to everyone, a product like this, this is a real illustration that we ran for the client. Okay? So I want you to be able to look at this, okay? Client came, and I want you to be able to see it. Client came, had $500,000, and she wanted to buy 2 rentals. But 2 rentals after, and she bought them now, yeah, she gets some rental income, but by the time that she's 65, even if those rentals that she has, she leaves to her kids, double in price, and they're worth $1 million, after capital gain, those $1 million worth of property now worth only 600. And that's what the kid gains. Okay? If she went with this policy through Allianz, one of our carriers, if she were to pass away when she's 65, or for now until 65, they have $2.5 million tax-free, whereas a real estate would have given her kids $600,000 net. Okay? By the time she's 65 and she still has 2 rental properties, even if rent's doubled, she'd be making maximum, for each rental, $3,000 property, and that's not including vacancy. Then she'd get $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Over here, she'd get $120,000 a year for the rest of her life. If she would have passed away at 75, she would have already taken $140,000 in income, tax-free, because it's considered a loan. So she would have hit $1.4 million in income. And when she passed away, her kids still get $1 million worth of death benefit, tax-free. Again, $2.5 million. So on a scenario like this, for that client, this worked better for her than buying 2 rental properties. And this is real estate versus these policies.
So if someone is 80-year-old, they still can buy that policy?
No, well, this person's 45. 80 years old costs a lot more. But here's the thing. The real estate, if we would have sold her the real estate, we would have made maximum 3% on the $500,000 in real estate. We would have gotten a commission check for around $15,000. The target premium on this was $87,000. The target premium on this was $87,000. Does that make sense? The target premium when this was run was $87,000. Okay?
So this is nearly similar to the life insurance policies they use.
Yeah, but see, but the old policies, like for example, these policies have things built in where you could do infinite banking. These policies have things built in. Remember, infinite banking is simply the concept of before you spend money, you invest it first. Before you spend money, you put the money into these accounts. The money grows at a rate of around 7 to 8% a year. But when you borrow money out of these accounts, you can borrow money at 5%. Meaning that, anything that you buy, anything that you spend, before you spend it, before you buy it, let the money go into one of these accounts and work for you first. Imagine for the next 20 years, you're making money on all the money that you spend for the next 20 years. Okay? So before you spend it, you put it into an infinite bank. Okay? You put it in there first. You want to buy a car? Okay, $80,000 for the car, put it in here first. Take the money out, buy your car. Okay? The beauty is while you're enjoying the car, the $80,000 that you put in here still grows. It still grows. It still over time still doubles. It's still working for you. Imagine the money that you're spending is still working for you. Isn't that crazy? We go buy dinner, but the money that we spent for dinner 4 years ago is still making money for you. You go pay rent, the money that you paid rent 4 years ago is still working for you. You go out there, anything you spend, vacations, anything you spend for your kids, their college education fund. The money that you put away for that, you put it in here, you take it out to pay for their college, but that money's still working for you.
So in that scenario right there, is saying that you would start borrowing after 15 years.
Yeah, you start taking money out after 15 years.
To
But
buy a
you
car,
don't
buy
have to
everything.
take it.
Yeah, but if somebody wants to take it out.
Early, then you take it out early.
If somebody wants to buy a house,
Then you take it out early.
Yeah. So you put it 500,000 and you take it out next year and say buy a house.
Yeah, no, but it has to have time to accumulate. You can't do that. See, so right now you want to create infinite banking, you have to have time to accumulate. Okay? Yeah, so it has to have a value first to be able to borrow against. But once you have that value, then you keep putting money in, you keep taking money out, and then you keep replenishing what you can borrow against. You understand?
What's the
So you have to let it
what's the
communicate.
guarantee on the percentage that you're gonna get that 7-8%?
No, it's historical.
Historical.
Historical last 50 years, average around 8%. Okay, that's historical.
This is
All right.
investment.
Yeah, it's like an investment. It's a way of doing business. Like the doctor that has an infinite banking account, okay, she learned the concept from the people that's run major hospitals. And major hospitals run infinite banking accounts. So major hospitals have these lines of credit. And see, hospitals and these big companies, right? The crazy thing about hospitals is, and remember, guys, remember something. The crazy thing about hospitals is that these medical institutions can borrow money at very cheap rates, right? So even if you have the money, Would you rather use your money, okay, cash, or if you could borrow the money at 3, 4, 5%, would you rather borrow the money? If you have a vehicle that guarantees you 7 or 8%, would you invest? Would you take your money, invest it at 7, 8%, and then go out and borrow money to use for your expenses at 4%? You know, one of the concepts is that, you know, people don't realize one of the concepts is that you could actually take equity out of your home when rates are really low. You could have taken equity out of your home at 3 or 4% and put it into investment vehicles that make you 7 or 8%. You know what I'm saying? 6, 7%. The concept of borrowing low, investing and earning high has been around for years. That's why people ask us to put money in the bank. The bank allows us to put the money in their bank so they can pay us 1, 2, 3%. You don't think they're making 1, 2, 3%, are they? They're charging it out at 7 or 8, 9%. You understand that? So basically, when you start infinite banking, you're doing the same thing for yourself. And you're training your clients to do the same thing. You know, one of the things for us to really understand, I'm starting to understand this really well here, is that the new types of policies is simply taking, and then when I explained it to her, she understood. My doctor client, I understood it right away. She goes, you know, it's as easy as explaining to the client that we're just helping you trade in your iPhone 6 to an iPhone 10. You're simply trading in your iPhone 6 to an iPhone 10. The things and the ways that things were done in the past, the policies and the products that you've had in the past are not quite as good as what you have in the present. You know, they have cars these days that have 50 airbags, airbags everywhere. Airbag for your head, for your knees, for your hips, airbag for everything. Whereas in the past, the airbag was right in front of you only. Okay? These days, they have cars that have navigation systems that can take you anywhere that you want to go. Back then, they didn't. These days, they have cars that have in their accident avoidance. That means that it just sends out signals, and if they feel that there's an oncoming accident coming, it will brake and stop your car to avoid that accident. Because these days, people know that we're texting on our phones. We're getting distracted because of our technology we have at the fingertips. So these days, they have cars that just basically stop, avoid accidents for you. And now it's going to the next stage. They have autopilot. They have autopilot. They have self-driving vehicles. What I'm trying to tell everyone in this room is that all the plans, the estate plans that have been developed for people in the past 5 or 10 or 20 years, people still have those plans. But right now is the day of the new plans. Right now, there are many new plans.
Basically, we are moving to the electric car.
Yeah. So all we're doing is we're helping people going from the old way of investing, the old places to park their money, and we're helping them put it into the new places to put their money. And our clients, they don't really pay for that. Okay? Matter of fact, with certain types of annuities, they make money because of that. They're giving bonus money because of that. Okay? All right? They're giving bonus money because of that. It's not costing them. It's just costing the new players in town believe in their product so much that they're willing to pay us 90, 100% of what they collect in their first full year of business. It's not uncommon for you to be able to work with a client and make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on helping them move their money from one place to another. And at the end of the day, all they're doing is moving money from their left hand to their right hand. They're moving money from their left hand to their right hand because maybe their right hand happens to be stronger. Okay? Maybe the benefits of the products in their right hand help the money grow faster. It helps save from downtime it has downside protection, and it has upside potential. Whatever it is, that's all we're trying to say to the client. The beauty is the client that needs these type of products is your client right now, is your real estate client. Matter of fact, this client is you. I know some of the agents in here had some good years. And for you, you were able to put $100,000 away each year. Okay? Some of you had some good investments. And I'm sure you have plenty of clients that have those types of years and those types of investments.
No, we can find it 5 new clients.
Yeah. Five new clients, because you know what? 5 new clients getting this product, you're making around $80,000 per client. 80.
6 clients will pay my policy.
Yeah. Okay. 6 clients will pay your policy here. All right. And if 6 clients pay your policy here, this is what you'd make when you're 100. When you're 65 years old, you're at $120,000 a year for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want to have something like that put away for your future? Who wouldn't want something like that? That's very exciting, isn't it? Okay. So these are the type of things that in training we want you to be able to learn how to do, read an illustration. Okay. So today I have Jason coming to train you on how to read these illustrations, what all the numbers mean, be able to break it down so you really see the advantages of these types of products. Does that make sense?
You need an insurance license to tell this.
Yeah? Yeah, I just got mine.
I have mine too. I
Friday!
have mine for since
I just
2006.
passed.
F plus?
Huh?
F plus?
No, I didn't get an F plus. I got more like a D minus, but not F plus. I got C minus. I got more like a C minus. But I was way better than F plus.
Well, you only need F plus.
I only need an F plus. I can work out like a C. And so, hey man, I passed. Okay, I'm on 1 day study. I took 1 hour to take the exam. Okay, so don't even ask me what my percentage was. I just know I got way better than F plus.
As long as you pass.
So you need the light for this one, the light.
Yeah, light.
And you don't need the series 6 and 63.
No,
No.
that's for variable product.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, one thing I want to mention to everyone.
Insurance life. I don't have the 6.
You don't need it to
Yeah.
sell this product.
One thing I want to mention to everyone is at the end of the day, believe it or not, all the products, all the products, all of the potential of this, okay? Like one of the agents I just hired or interviewed with me today, and he's coming on board. He has been an insurance agent, all right, for 10, 12 years, and he's going to be signing up here. And he just sold an Allianz product, and his contract through his IMO was 60%. His contract through his IMO was 60%. Okay, and he was very happy about it. Okay, I want everyone to understand something, that Transpacific is your wholesaler. You're the agency. Each one of you. You're the agency. You can build an agency for yourself within our company. Okay? That means that you can set a payment plan for the people that you hire. See, the exciting thing about it is that even something like this, the commission is around $80-something thousand. And this wasn't something that was too hard to find someone to be able to do, because there's just too many benefits there for that person. Okay? You know, if you were to if you were to close this policy yourself, of the $87,000 target premium, you're at 80-85% of that. Okay? Or depending on your volume, 90-100% of that. Okay? If you hired someone who's at 60%, then your cut on a policy like this is $15,000 to $20,000 only on your cut with the agents that are working for your organization. So look at this not only as an opportunity for you to be able to help clients with this, but also look at this as an opportunity for you to set yourself up a very good group or team of people to help people with the plan. Imagine you have simply 5 or 6 good salespeople on your team. When we were in LA, we had one gentleman, Kenny, that had 90 something of his licensed people that came to the event. And imagine all those people. Remember, a policy like this took us maybe 3 hours to write. And the commission on this was 80 something thousand dollars. Okay. So I'm gonna have Jason come up and talk to you a little bit about, some of the big policies he's written. Why is it? How did you sell some of those big policies? And then we're gonna do like a little bit of an interview with Jason. He's gonna do a little training for you. So Jason, come on up here. And then why don't you go? Let's welcome Jason up. Do a little training for you. Oh yeah, do it. Okay.
Wait, that's the wrong one.
But you guys understand the illustration that I just put in front of you? How powerful something like that is? If I had $100,000 to put away for 5 years, so that by the time I'm 65, because I'm 44, it matches for me too. I'm 44. If next year I start putting $100,000 away for the next 5 years, that by the time I'm 65, I can take $120,000 a year for the rest of my life. I know that retirement income is there. If from now until I'm 65, if something happened to me, my kids have $2.5 million. And I put away 500, my kids get 2.5 million. Okay?
So you're doing this, right?
Yeah, of course. What do you think?
Let me sign you up.
So I guess most of you guys are
My first year's paid for. I got $87,000. My first year's paid for.
We need more.
Yeah.
More.
Okay.
So I guess most of you are getting your licenses already. So one of the most common questions that people ask me is how to
Apply for a license.
I'll quickly go over this real quick. How to apply for life insurance.
So now you have to do separately, the life and the other 2, 3 that we have.
Life, health, and accident is a whole package.
Yeah, it's generally what you take one license and it covers all.
It covers everything. So most of you already done the classes already, so you get your 52 hours already. And then all you have to do is just go to the state. You need your 52 hours. This is for California. And then you go to the states. You take your class, AD Banker or Claflin, but you already took your classes already. So after that, you just go to the exam location, PSI exam, sign up for the class, sign up for the exams. Over there, you do your fingerprints. And then this is the journal, 60% pass, so F plus, you pass, you get the license.
Plus.
And then after that, you just apply for it, get your fingerprint, apply for it, go online. I can send you guys the link. I think I already sent to a lot of you guys the link. You just apply online and wait 2 or 3 weeks. After that, then you can start. You can join Transpacific. And join Transpacific, you fill a packet, and you have to buy an E&O, your emission, and you need your void check. Your void check is so we can, when you get paid, we can wire the money to your bank account. So that's why we need a void check. And aero emission is for everyone. Everyone needs to buy aero E&O just to protect consumers. It's around like $400, $500 a year. So we need that to start doing business. And then afterwards, in Transpacific, we will assign sales support. For most of you guys, it will be me in the first hand, and then we have actually a team of sales support. So if anything, if I'm too busy, there's actually other sales support that I can help out and stuff. And then you have your case managers. When you submit your cases, there's going to be someone that's talking to all the underwriters for you. So that will be handling all the cases for you, whatever pending requirements. So we have a whole team of staff to help you with that. And we have training video libraries, and we can download softwares to write illustrations.
So Jason, can you explain to everyone what does sales support do? So you understand, Jason is going to be our sales support. So Jason, what are some of the things that sales support can do?
So sales support does everything pre-sale. So we can help you plan out your client. If you have a question about your clients, illustrations, anything. anything pre-sale and anything with the application, we can help you out. If you don't know which form to fill out, I can go over that with you guys to fill out which forms, where to fill, where to sign, making sure everything. After you submit the application out, our company will submit it to the carrier to get the approval. So that person will be a case manager. They will handle all the paperwork for you guys. So whatever pending requirement, let's say you miss out a signature, miss out anything, they'll call you up that, hey, Robert, on the second page, your client didn't sign this page or whatever. Can you have your client sign it? So they'll do all the follow-up. So you don't have to contact any of the insurance companies. They'll do all that for you and making sure all your cases gets approved and all the money goes in.
Is
So-
that you guys' office in LA to follow up all those carriers?
We have case managers throughout all our offices. I think the case manager for us is going to be in San Jose, but everything will be done electronically, would be done through email. So it will be the case manager, you can just email them.
What type of material? Okay, like example, like I want to go out meet the client.
Mhm.
Okay, and I want to show you guys the company and what type of material you are using to.
You can show them our website. We have our own YouTube channel and we have all that stuff.
So you have the like PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, we have some PowerPoint presentation.
What about at the beginning when you first initial contact with the clients, that the first time you're actually going out there because you have no idea, you just got your license, but you need that support for somebody to go with us to the initial.
That's where I come in, where sales support comes in. We can go and sit down with your client, and then we can help you close the case.
Okay.
The majority of times, maybe we're talking about 100,000, 200,000, but majority of the time when we go out there, we're more experienced. We can up the numbers maybe to 500,000 or whatever. So a lot of times we actually close bigger cases. Because some people, when they're starting out, they're really scared to sell the small numbers. So we can actually push them.
Well, what's your biggest case target premium that you've ever closed? Or
It was a $15 million case, and that one's $300,000.
so Jason recently closed a $15 million case with a $300,000 target premium.
Yeah.
What?
Like one payment.
No, the commission was $300,000.
Oh.
So just so you guys understand, a target premium is the commission that you get a percentage of. So if the target premium is $300,000 and you're at 90%, then your commission on that case is $270,000. Okay, it's very common for Transpacific to close cases where the target premium is $300,000 to $800,000 per case. Okay, per case. It's not uncommon for them to close those types of policies. So the thing is that, if you were at the event in LA, there was a couple that the month that they were there, they just had submitted 3 $15 million cases. And that each of those $15 million cases, the target premium was $270,000 to $300,000 per case. And that was the commission that they made for the month of January. Not bad, making almost $900,000 for the month of January. Okay? There were gals there that only came to America 2 years ago, don't speak a lick of English. She wanted to say thank you and she had to read from a script. But her income was more than $1 million last year. And that was her first year in the business. In real estate, that's unheard of. But in this is common. Okay? That's why the joke around, Transpacific's company is, man, you guys work too hard for so little. It's like, man, you work for 2 or 3 months to handle an escrow to make $15,000. We work for 4 or 5 hours to make $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is that, guys, 60% of this company's cases are from people going from old accounts to new. These people have accounts that they've had for 20 years that's built in $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 in cash value already. But It's still the old iPhone. We're just asking them to switch to the new iPhone at no cost to them through a 1035 exchange. So I mean, sometimes you make a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 commission on simply a rollover. Okay, so we're not in the industry here of making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, or $10,000 a check. Over here, good salespeople, they're looking for $100,000 to $500,000 checks consistently, and these are single checks. The beauty is, as the insurance people, they fight to get in front of the clients that we take for granted. That's the beauty, guys. Why do you think I bring you here? People like Jason and Mr. Philip Wu, they fight to get in front of the client that we get in front of first. See, that's the beauty of what we do. In real estate, they come to us years before they think of financial planning. You understand that? When we build a relationship with our clients, we almost build like a best friend family relationship because we're the ones that get them into their first home. Who do you think gets in front of the client first, the realtor or the estate planner? It's us. So imagine if we've already won that type of trust and now we bring to them financial planning, how much money you'll be able to make. Does it make sense? It's funny, we do the harder product, but we make the peanuts. So that's why I'm introducing you to something that blows your mind. I just showed you a product from Allianz that for this client was way better. Long-term, mid-term, and short-term. Way better for the client. But the commission, instead of the $15,000 real estate commission, the commission was $87,000. For something, so it would have taken us probably weeks to find her a property to buy, or months. It would have taken another 30, 40 days to close an escrow. We would have been working with her for freaking 2.5, 3, 4 months. And then after she gets the key to the property, now she has to work with, tenants and all that stuff. She probably call us to help her get Section 8 in there. The problem doesn't go away. But here, easy 3-hour sell. She made the decision on the spot, got her medical in, commission $87,000. And I was like, oh my God. Why haven't I done this so long ago? Oh my God, selling 5 policies, you get a free house. When can you sell 5 houses and get a free house from it? And the crazy thing is Philip, who started Transpacific a decade ago, and now two decades ago, but the main growth in Transpacific's only been in the past decade. All right, but can you imagine that right now his annual residual income, that means if he doesn't lift a dime, he has $2 or $3 million every single year, just fun money that he doesn't earn, money that's outside of his business, $2 or $3 million every year, fun money that he could pass on to all his beneficiaries. And every year, that amount of residual income keeps going up and up and up and up. Because as long as people have these accounts, you get paid year in and year out from them. Okay? That's the beauty of it. Since it's your own agency, you also get a benefit of residual in this too. So no way I'm ever going to talk you out of doing real estate, because that's our bread and butter. We're real estate agents, okay? That's our bread and butter. But the thing is if the client's already in front of you, you're already their trusted, their advisor, and now you have something else to advise on. Will you turn down another extra couple $100,000 you can make from them? No. Okay, so that's why we're here. Does that make sense? That's the reason why we're here as a group. That's why we're here. Okay? So Jason, if it's a pretty hard case, agent don't know how to close it, what do they do?
Call me.
Call Jason. Well, what will you do, Jason?
I can meet up with the client.
And you and the agent will go meet up with the client, right? Now, if it's a super big deal, then what can we do?
Super big deal. Call you.
No, not me. But, yeah. If it's a super big deal, then Philip will come down and help you close it.
Or we can call you.
Huh? Yeah, give me a few months. I'll close all your super big ones. You know, I have that gift. Okay, I can close.
I can close big ones too.
Yeah. Okay.
Not super big ones, just big ones.
Okay. All right.
But
Okay.
anyways, so this thing is a cheat sheet for everyone to for reference. This thing I use this a lot actually. What different things we can do with the insurance and annuity? We have 7 different ways: insurance protection, college funding, retirement planning, living benefit, estate planning, income tax saving, and after tax for annuities. So we break your clients down into age groups and what their needs are. So let's take the first group, 25 years old to 45-year-old single people. Is there anyone in this room?
Single, huh?
Single.
So this is the cheat sheet, guys. This is the cheat sheet. When you run into a client that meets any of these criteria, so you guys want to might take a picture of this one because this is probably one of the most important slides that you will. This is one of the most important slides that you will be able to have to get. Okay. Okay. So this is your cheat sheet here. Okay. I'm going to take a picture for myself here. So if you have a client that fits into any of these categories, then these are the products that a good planner will be able to help the client with. So if you have a client that's middle income family with kids, I think a lot of our real estate clients fit in the category 2 here, 25 to 50 middle income family with kids. Okay? I don't know about you, but I have a lot of these, I think, in our company. 25 to 50 middle income family with kids. And if you fit into any of these categories, you should get it for yourself for financial planning, okay? Put yourself in a position now so that 10, 15 years from now, you start infinite banking for the rest of your life. Really, seriously. Put yourself in the position now so that you can accumulate enough cash. So 5, 10 years from now, you can start infinite banking. I think 5 years of cash accumulation should be enough to start infinite banking. Unless you fund the heck out of it right now, which I'm doing myself, is I'm going to fund the heck out of it and start doing infinite banking myself right away. Okay, so 25 to 50, these are the 4 things that if you fit in that category, you should plan for yourself. Insurance protection, always. Who in here is silly enough to have kids and not have life insurance? I have life insurance. If I die, my kids are protected. Plus, I have lots of assets, right? So my insurance is actually to pay for all the capital gains that they're going to get. Technically, my insurance pays for all the capital gains that they're going to have, okay, or the estate taxes. So I have insurance there to make sure it pays for all their estate taxes, okay, because I'm passing on quite a bit of real estate. All right, but I have kids. College funding, so important. John, is college funding important? You have kids in college. Is that very important?
Very.
Okay. Retirement planning. We're at that 45. I'm 44. We're at that age where 20 years isn't that far away. Does it make sense? You know, I mean, it's just yesterday I just had my kid, and now he's going to go off to college soon. Some of you have known me for 18, 19 years. Does that make sense? So that's how fast time flies. You know what I'm saying? I've known a lot of you for more than a decade. Many of you I've known for much more than a decade. Okay? Living benefit. That's very important because we all will get sick. We all have a chance to get sick. You know, living benefit is something I don't have. Well, I have money, so I guess that's my living benefit, but I need to have long-term care. You know, my dad didn't have living benefit, but the living benefit is my mom had money, and we help him, and we have a nurse for him. But if you weren't in that situation, then you'd be in big trouble. Okay, so 25 to 50, insurance protection, college funding, retirement plan, or living benefit. If you're, let's say, 50, well, up and above average assets, you need insurance protection. Your kids are old enough now, you don't need college funding, but you need a retirement plan. Okay, you need a living benefit to protect you from illness and from bankruptcy, and you might need a 7 is after-tax money for annuities. You might have money already put away for 401k and so forth, but the money is not growing like you like. You put it in a CD or something. Take your money from the CD and put it into after-tax money for annuities. You know what I'm saying? So that's the plan for someone 50. You know, 35 and up with high income. You know, if you're in the Bay Area, or some of you, you're 35 and up, that's some of you are 35 and up, and you make good income. You're a Silicon Valley guy, okay? You're an Intel guy, an HP guy, an Oracle guy. Well, most important to you is 3, 5, 6, and then 2, 4, and 7. So you need retirement planning, you need estate planning, and you need to save as much taxes as you can, okay? But then you might have a kid, so you might be interested in college funding. You might be interested in a living benefit, and if you're making enough income, maybe put away money for guaranteed income, okay? So the thing is that use this as a cheat sheet just to set up someone's plan, okay? Be good enough to be able to say, so all of you, we need to all learn what are those 7 things. What is an insurance protection? So Jason, can you explain what these 7 things are, please?
Yeah. Insurance protection is just basic protection. If the client passes away, his family gets paid tax-free death benefit. That's the most simple. College funding, you put in money, and then later on you can save up money for your kids to go to college. We can tailor that through IUL products. Retirement planning, we can do like the case that Robert just did, putting in five years, $100,000 for 5 years, and then later on when they turn 65, you get tax-free income for the rest of their life for retirement planning. Living benefit is when people buy a policy. Let's say they buy a $1 million policy and they get sick. Instead of waiting for them to die and family gets the money for tax-free, they can actually accelerate part of that money, that $1 million money, to use for his or her medical expenses. So this living benefit is actually works really well with female clients. For some reason, female clients really likes living benefit, and then the male clients don't really care for a living benefit.
Because they have the woman take care of them.
Yeah.
Now I want to point something out, something I learned for living benefit. It's very important, okay? The policies that we have, the living benefit, all right, the living benefit works differently than some policies, and why we're so powerful, why our products are so good, is that we have products where our living benefit, all right, is simply if you meet the requirements, you get to take out from the death benefit. So if your death benefit example is $2 million and you needed, something happened, you can't do 2 of the 6 requirements for standard living, okay? Then you know what? You can exercise your living benefit. And if let's say you need to take out $10,000 a month for the next, 30 months, because that's the time that that you can't take care of yourself, then you took out 300, you still have 1.7 million in death benefit. Some companies, how they work their living benefit is they work it as almost like a structured settlement. You cash out your policy is gone. Your $2 million, they say, you know what? We will give you 500 instead of the 200, 2 million, and you get to take your 500 now, but your policy is gone. So you get your 500, you spend 300, and then if you pass away, you might have 200 in the bank left, but the 200 that's in your bank you have left, if your kids get your 200, they're going to have taxes on that 200 because you already took it yourself, okay? Whereas a policy with a true living benefit, and you have a $2 million policy, you took out 300, you still have $1.7 million left. If you pass away, that $1.7 million goes to your kids. So, I'm tax-free. So understand the old policies and their claims to living benefit versus the new policies that living benefits don't work that way. Man, isn't that a huge difference? Isn't that a huge difference that you go with one policy, they claim they have a living benefit rider, but their living benefit rider is not the type of living benefit that lets you basically take out of that death benefit, okay? So if you have a $2 million policy and they structure the sum and say, hey, you know what? Take $500,000 now. So you take the 500 because you need it, or else your family will be bankrupt and no one's taking care of you. You take the 500, you spend 300, and then you die. And then you have 200 left over for your family. The 200 will be taxed. Okay? Will be taxed. Your family would probably be left with 120 grand. Okay? Whereas if you have the right policy, out of $2 million benefit, they basically sort of paid you early, 300,000 of it. The other 1.7 million in death benefit is intact. If you passed away after those 30 months, your family still gets the $1.7 million tax-free. Now you tell me the benefit of one product versus the other. Does that make sense? A lot of people bought that LSW product from National Life, but like there's these companies that Phil was talking about, the PFA product, where they're selling this one type of product. That type of product had the cash settlement option. They did not have the true long-term care living benefit rider. So you got to understand the difference. The difference at the end of the day, one family got $1.7 million, one family got $120,000, and the policy probably cost about the same. So that's why having the right product, understanding and selling the client the right product is so important. I'll tell you, PFA, FEG, those companies sold the hell out of the LSW products. There are so many hundreds of thousands of people out there that have the product that has cash settlement, part of the living benefit, okay? Man, all those people should 1035 exchange something to something better. You see? So I'm telling you, there's so many people out there with a bad product, they don't even know about it. It's like having airbags that don't work. They just don't even know about it. They don't even know that they have a bad product until we put the products in front of them and say, you know how bad your product really is? You really know how bad your product is? Does it make sense? Yeah. So people don't realize that how good our products are. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that be great to the client. Understand the difference between cash settlement and what real living benefit is. And then understand all the intricacies of why our products are better and get them to go into the better product. Does it make sense? For you, you don't understand iPhone. You don't understand iPhone 1 versus iPhone 10. You don't understand Pixel versus Android, But because there's competition, all these products are about as good. You go to another country, they sell you a phone that don't even work, don't have internet access. The fastest you'll ever get is 10K. And you think it's good, but you don't know any better. Does it make sense? You don't know any better.
1035 doesn't cost anything for them?
No. See? But you know what a commission is, a transfer of policy like that? Make 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, 300,000, like that. Easy. Because they're already qualified. Just 1031 exchange it over. So that what we need to do is say, man, do you have a good policy or a bad policy? Let me look at your policy. Yeah. Is it a good policy or a bad policy? You have an old iPhone or a new one? You have something that sucks or something that's good? Let me just tell you if it's good or not. Because this wholesaler has all the best products in the country. Does that make sense? You see, so that's living benefit. Look, if I could already explain this to you and sell this to you, and I just got into this, imagine how good we as a group can be in a year, 2, 3 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Okay?
Me for.
Like if you had a $2 million policy and you needed more than the 300,000, but you needed like.
Well, depending on the carrier, they would do like a second underwriting, like the LSW ones that Robert was talking about. They will actually rank you which severity you are. The more severe, the more money you get. If the less severe, then you get less money. But you still have to trade in your whole policy. So those kind of products is not as great. And some other products, they offer just like a flat rate of how much you
So
get.
if you're not sick now, let's say you're healthy right now, but let's say in 2 years from now you have something really bad happen to you, you get really sick. Does this change or you still get the same amount?
You still get the same amount, whichever face amount you buy, 500,000, a million, is based off that. Yeah. So this is pretty helpful. People should use it more. But I would recommend focusing more on the 25, 50 middle class. Those are for living benefits. Assets for like retirement planning. 50 and up high net worth people. those are pretty good as well. But from my experience, I wouldn't focus too much on the first category because most people are just starting out. They don't have too much money, so they wouldn't buy too much policy. So I would focus on the more bottom ones.
Now, what is estate planning, Jason? Like when you're doing planning for the client, what is estate planning?
Estate planning is when people want to leave a estate for their family. Some people, they buy a policy. Let's say the husband buy a policy, the wife buys a policy, and the husband passes away. The money goes to the kids. The kids do whatever they want with the money. But with estate planning, you buy a survivorship policy. So it's husband and wife linked together. So both of them have to pass away in order for the kids to get the money. So if let's say the husband dies first, no one gets money. You have to wait until the wife dies so the kids get money. So they don't get premature too much money spending buying Ferrari or something like that. So
like for example, with me, when I bought my policy, a lot of my policy was for estate planning. It's not for death benefit because I know that if something happened to me personally, my kids will have a lot of real estate because I own quite a bit of real estate. But what I was protecting them against is something happened to me, I'm protecting against all the estate taxes they'd have to pay. So I made sure I got enough to pay all their estate taxes. So nothing that they're living in will ever get lost. You know, I mean, what we want to do is, you know, as a family, we want to leave every kid, you know, at least a house and a building to get income. So we have that, you know, so every kid, if we pass away, have their own buildings and have their own houses. And so, but I don't want them to have an estate burden of trying to figure out a way how to pay all that estate taxes. So that's, for me, it was for estate planning. You know what I'm saying?
So if you put your property on your kids right now, you still have to pay tax?
Yeah, because it's called a gift. If you give any kind of gift, I mean, you only can give your gift so much every year. If you give your kids this gift in a lump sum, you have all types of taxes you have to pay.
40%.
40%.
So it means in America, everything goes to the tax.
Man, a lot of what we do is to try to avoid most, or all of the taxes that you pay to the government. There's ways to set up certain policies so that if you pass away, you put a little bit of money now, okay? But when you pass away, the policies take care of all the taxes that you have to pay. Because I'll tell you, you give money while you're alive, you pay gift taxes. You give money when you die, your kids pay estate taxes. You know, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you're able to save. It's not about how much money you're able to save until you die, because then it's how much money you're able to transfer. Every single time money moves, if you don't plan right, you're going to lose 40, 50% of it. Every time it moves from you to someone else.
So there's always ways around it, but you just got to know your cards.
You just have to plan correctly. Or else, all that hard work, you know, you already made your money. You already paid Uncle Sam, Uncle California, Uncle Trump, Uncle Obama, whatever you're paying for, okay? We made that money and we already paid the taxes. But while we own that money, we own that money. But there will be a day, if we build enough assets, there'll be a day where if we give that away before we die to our kids, we pay gift taxes because we gave it away. We give it to them. If we die, we pay estate tax. They pay estate taxes if they get it. No matter what, if it changes hands, government makes money. So what we do is we put in systems and plans in place so that when we give them, when the kids get the money, they get the money tax-free. Remember that thing about real estate? Hey, buy those 2 rental properties for $500,000. If they go up to $1 million and you die at that time, your kids will get $1 million worth of real estate and they'd pay $400,000 in taxes because of it. So they'd have to sell at least one to pay off all the taxes, okay? And so they have one left. Whereas if you put it in the right place, they get $2.5 million tax-free. Which do you prefer? Does that make sense? Planning for the future is not just about insurance protection, but it's about estate planning and income tax savings. What we do is we help the wealthy save income tax, save much, most, or all of their future, tax liabilities for them and their kids. So it's very powerful what we do if you understand it. And now we're learning about it. Some of you made money for the first time. There's some people that made money for the very first time in their lives. A lot of people that make this kind of money for the very first time have no clue where to put it. No clue. My first time around, I had no clue. Did you know the first time around, I told myself, and this is the true story, I should have retired when I was in 2005. At my peak, a lot of you knew me when I was at my peak, right? You guys remember me? When I was at my peak?
I started working with you there.
Remember my Ferrari days, Lamborghini days? Remember I had 100 property days? Remember those days at my peak? Okay, I should have retired at my peak. Do you know that I didn't understand at all what asset protection was all about? I kept every single thing that I owned in my own personal name. When shit hit the fan, excuse my language, sorry, I apologize for those, but that's what they call it, when poop hits the fan, right? When that hit the fan, when everything is in your name, then you're liable for everything. You didn't even understand what the Kennedys did. On the flip side, there's a movie coming out probably in the next 4 or 5 months based on what happened with the Kennedy and what happened with the untimely death of someone, and that movie's coming out soon. But you know what that movie's about? That movie's about understanding how money works. Understanding that you could be the most powerful family in the country. You could own tens of billions of dollars in real estate. But when one of your family members drives drunk, kills a girlfriend because he's drunk driving, and the family that lost their kid cannot sue for $1 because technically he doesn't own a dang thing. That's what you call power and protection. Does it make sense?
So if
that's what you call power and protection.
If you have LLC, they can still sue you?
Well, certain types of LLC, everything you own are put into different bubbles. You know that a Delaware LLC, because after I lost so much that I did, I started learning a lot about how life is. You start learning about how to put things in different entities and how you create different shells and how to create different barriers, okay? Because at the end of the day, if someone else is making the decision with your money, but someone else is making the decision, then you only have limited liability. So the thing is that in different LLCs, things are all put into different bubbles. Even though it's one LLC, they have different bubbles in that LLC, and each bubble is unrelated to the other bubble. So if you are part of one bubble and the bubble has $100,000, but you have 10,000 of these $100,000 bubbles, if this one bubble makes a mistake, you're only liable for $100,000, even though you have 10,000 bubbles. It'll cost you $100,000 to get to the very next bubble. Who has that type of money to file 10,000 lawsuits? Does it make sense? Even your dog is in its own bubble. Even though your car's in its own bubble, your one house is its own bubble. Everything is its own bubble. Nothing is related to each other. Does it make sense? If you understand how the system works and how hard it is to get through certain bubbles, then people won't even try. But when you leave yourself 100% exposed, you can make money for your very first time, and one day you blink an eye, it is gone. And you say to myself, man, if I just simply put it all into these little bubbles, I could have just filed a $100 BK and everything's gone. And I'd still have everything. But because you did it wrong, everything is gone. And you don't have anything. So life is about understanding how life works. How to understand how estates work. Does it make sense?
Bringing it back to that scenario that you guys sold up to the $500,000 policy that's going to be put in. They were going to buy the 2 houses, but you guys converted it over to them. Did they sell the property first? That's how they got the money, or they already had it in their account?
No, they they sold couple of their properties. No. In this case, it was what do you call it? They inherited it. In this case, they inherited 500. They got it, and then so they want to put money away.
So how would you treat a customer that, let's just say that they have $500,000 in a 1031 exchange?
Well, they have to pay. No, anything you put into these accounts is after tax dollar.
After tax.
So yeah, they have to pay the taxes. But like Philip said, we're almost at the lowest point in our history of tax rates. Pay the tax now to let it grow forever in the future, tax free. Sometimes it's better to pay tax now than pay tax later. Right now, you have all these write-offs. In the future, you don't have any. Okay. Sometimes it's better to pay tax now than pay tax later.
No, if we sell our prime home, 500,000.
Yeah, then you have your homeowner exemption.
Okay. Yeah, then you're okay.
Then you have your homeowner exemption for capital gains.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, if you're ever going to do any kind of these things, you better start doing it now before in the next couple of years, if the president loses elections, man, and another someone comes in that isn't as business aggressive as this person, then you might be subject to all types of new taxes. So what I'm saying is that take advantage of the policies in place now, because the policies in place now might not be here in the next election. Does that make sense? Seriously, okay? Seriously, all right?
In estate planning, you can tailor your wishes so your kids won't spend all the money, but they can deserve it. So you can tell them what to do.
But remember something, guys. This is your company. Every single one of you, like I said, you know the doctor that's going to be working with us? I knew that she'd be very good at this, and then she got it right away. I told her that you are your own agency, and she loved it when I said that. You are your own agency. Every one of you in this opportunity, you are all your own agency, free to build your business how you want to build it. You build it as a single person, that's fine, but you can build it as a strong organization as well as your company, because we're wholesaling it to you, okay? You know, to answer your question, you know, that's just part of estate planning, is to be able to control money from the grave. You put in their rules where your kids can't squander the money when you pass away. So it's very important to understand that. And then finally, income tax savings and annuities. What's that, Jason? What's income tax savings and annuities? What do we help the client with there?
Tax saving is just what we're talking about, the same case. You have tax-free income later on. And then annuities is when people roll over their retirement plans like 401k, IRAs, and we can do annuities for those too. So what I would suggest everyone to do when they go home is do a prospect list. Think about all your prospect, all your clients, and fit them into the 8 categories. So for example, insurance protection, we have Mary, who's age 45, who really needs insurance protection. Batman really needs insurance protection. For college funding, it's more for people that are starting out, they have kids, they have a baby, maybe their kids are like in their 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they're planning out for their college funding. So just make a list of all your prospective clients that you think is suitable for which category. And also over here, we have foreign national that we didn't add. Foreign national, we can do clients that's living in other countries. All they have to do is come to U.S. soil and sign application, do their blood and urine work here. We do a lot of foreign national clients, and that is where a lot of monies are, because they have a lot of money from China, from wherever they come here.
So they could be just visitors too?
Yeah, they could be visitors. We negotiate with the insurance company, so they're doing exclusive for companies to do, like visiting visa, A1, B2, and stuff like that.
So just so you know, Transpacific has exclusive products that only Transpacific can do with foreign national. They have exclusive products, okay? That's very important to understand that TransGlobal and Transpacific has exclusive products and exclusive kinds of benefits for the global customer. So, for example, for some of you who come from a different country, or really, you know, I say different country, but any one of you can do this, okay? is any one of you could go to any country, because just so you know, the Allianz product, if you were in China, would cost around 4 to 5 times as much. 4 to 5 times. That means that they'd have to put 4 or 5 times more in order to get the same thing that you saw for 500. They'd have to put their own 2.5 million to get the same thing that you saw. So if they bought the product that was in their country, if they bought the product from us, it's the price that you see. So for that $80,000, you know, in India, in Vietnam, in China, in places in Europe, for them, to be honest with you, $100,000 in those countries is nothing. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Tell me, guys, in India, how much is $100,000 American money? It's peanuts to some of those rich people there. And for some of those rich people there, okay, to put away $100,000 a year for 5 years, they could give you a check for $500,000 now, no problem. Okay, they'll fund it now if they're allowed to fund that much. And you know what? That's a $90,000 commission that you make. You know, but it gives all that protection to their family. If you were to travel to India, to Asia, you know that we can do selling seminars in other countries. But these seminars cannot mention specific products or illustrations like from Allianz. But we can mention and we can train the concepts that you see. We could talk about all the concepts of financial planning, about tax savings, about wealth transfer, about working with foreign nationals, about after-tax dollars. We could talk about the concept. We could talk about the general, hey, there's American policies where you could put this type of money away. By the time you're 65 years old, you could get $120,000 American money per year for the rest of your life. During that period of time, if something happened to you, then your kids will get $2.5 million, 5 times the amount of money that you put away one time. It's a 500% return that if you were to pass away in the next 20 years, that the kids will get. After you get to 65, you can take out $120,000 per year for the rest of your life for you to retire. And then during that time, if you pass away, you know, there's still a big death benefit for your kids, okay? These are things that you do seminars on. Matter of fact, before too many people leave, okay, because we're going to run a little bit over here, one of the things that I want to mention to everyone is that Mr. Philip Hu himself is doing his first selling seminar on the 13th of March here in this office. The very first selling seminar, okay? The first selling seminar is an opportunity for you to witness his first selling seminar, but it's also an opportunity for you to make your first $500,000. It's your opportunity to make your first, hopefully, $500,000. You know, in real estate, we'd say make your first sale, make your first 10 grand. In insurance, it'd be your first $500,000. I plan to have at least half a dozen to a dozen of my best potential prospects there in that room.
What if you don't have your license by then?
Huh?
What if you don't have your license by then?
Well, then I'll write it up for you and I'll make the commission, okay? But please have everyone there.
Hell.
All right? No, I'm just joking.
For the next one. Quick question.
Yes.
When you go to foreign nationals, how is the money paid? Like, the dollars, can they pay rupees or, China money?
No, you have to wire into your U.S. bank account. Well, their U.S. bank account, and there's a lot of U.S. banks that's partnering up with us. They can open up bank accounts for foreign nationals.
That's the biggest problem is transferring the money from there to here.
Now,
Otherwise, I have so many people who are.
Oh man, and guys, don't. I'll tell you, foreign national clients. Okay, you know, Philip said the average foreign national client's commission is around $200,000 per client. Okay, all right, just so you guys know, average client, it's around $200,000 commission per client. Meaning that you go to another country and you pique the interest of the people that are successful there. They want everything about being in other countries is to have something that's American. Okay, From American jeans to American shoes to American something, they want something that's American. In other countries, American looks like gold, okay? Nothing is as good as something that's made in America. And now they get an American investment policy like this, okay?
That's why they pay 3 to 4 more times.
Normally they pay 4 to 5 times more for the same product in their country than if they just walked onto American soil and got it from us direct, okay? So on the 13th, okay, if you have a policy that we're about to write, one of our licensed people will write the policy for you. We'll save the commission, but you have to get licensed right away so that by the time it closes that we can put the policy and pay you for it, okay? But here's the thing, okay? On the 13th is a selling seminar. Put it on your calendar to be there for the selling seminar so you see what a Philip Hu selling seminar looks like. If you're very good, like, you know, I told some people that if you want to really make a huge push of this, I will go with you to your country and then I will convince, or I'll close it for you. By that time, I'll be good too, okay? That's what I do, all right? But I'll go with you, or Philip will go with both of us, and we will do selling seminars in your country. See, you have to get to the point where you are brave enough to say that I can do it. You know, when I said we're going to China, what happened? 10 of us packed our bags, jumped on a plane, got to China, and we were there, okay? Whatever, normally when I say something, I do it. You know, everyone who knows Robert well enough knows that Robert says that he does it. Does it make sense? You know me well enough. You blink an eye, I said, I want to be Berkshire Hathaway. Boom, we're Berkshire Hathaway. Okay? I say that, hey, I want to go ahead and have insurance. Boom, we have Philip Hu, we're flying, you know, all of us, like 60 of us are flying to LA, all room and board paid for. Now we're in LA. You know, I say, boom, hey, we're going to do selling seminars in another country. When I say that I will do it, don't think I'm not going to do it. I'm not that type of person that talks and don't do. Does it make sense? I'm not a member of NATO. You ever heard of that, NATO? No action, talk only? You never heard of that? You know, I have a lot of people who are a member of NATO. No action, talk only. Well, I'm not a member of that, okay? I'm just telling you. When I talk, I do. Make sense? Okay, and I've always been that way. Always. So I want to take this to India. I said it already.
Yep.
I just don't know who's brave enough to go to India with me, okay? I'm ready to take this to China, okay? I'm ready to take this to Vietnam, to Europe. I'm ready to take it across the globe and do these seminars. And you think I'm afraid to get in front of a room? I'm not. You might be, but I'm not, okay? All right, I thrive in front of people. So because of that, I'm going to be taking this, you know, opportunity worldwide. It's up to you to, you know, be that person, because obviously I'm not from India, so I don't know where to go. You have to semi-set it up for me, and I bet you I'll buy that plane ticket for you, okay? And that's just the way I am. So the first person that helps me take it to another country, okay, and start doing these seminars, Mr. Philip Hu makes around $500,000 every time he does a seminar in Asia, okay? And he does multiple seminars, just talking about the concept of this and then flying these people over to America to buy the product, okay? You know, there are plenty of people with money in Vietnam. There's plenty of people with money in Thailand, in India, in Europe, in all those places. Don't think if you have blonde hair and blue eyes and you don't speak the language of Chinese. I don't speak Chinese either. Am I afraid to go to China? No. I'm not Indian. I do not speak that language. And do you think I'm afraid to go to India? No, because they speak English there, by the way. And so to be honest with you, if you're blonde hair, blue eyes, you actually have an advantage, because now you are American. They'll probably trust you more than trust even the own Indian people.
That's right.
Okay? You are an American. Blonde hair, blue eye, there's no such thing as lie. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be perfectly honest with you. Okay? there's opportunity for all of us to go and do this abroad, okay? You just have to be brave enough to just do it. I told, and she couldn't be here tonight, but I told Olga, one of my agents that I've had for almost 20 years now, I said, have a presentation in the Russian community, rent a hall and do it, and then hopefully we'll be having a presentation in the Russian community very soon. I could envision that next year when we go to the kickoff event, raise your hand if you were at the kickoff event this year. I want one of the agents in here to have a group of around 60 licensed Indian people in that group next year, okay? Because I saw a group of 90 Korean people. I want a group, that group had very few blonde hair, blue eyed people. So I want some of you to build a very good group, a professional, Caucasian people to go back and to that training where we pay for all your room and board next year. Can one of your groups have that kind of army of people there next year? Because, in that group that we were at were us, and then was a whole bunch of Korean people. Remember that? I could imagine one of my Hispanic people having a group of 40 or 50 licensed Hispanic people in that room next year. Because how excited were we to learn all the things that we did, to get all that good information, to get that 5-star treatment that whole 3 days? Was that pretty impressive? Yes or no? Did they treat us pretty good? Do you think if you had 50 of your people there next year, that you would come back and have a pretty strong agency yourself? Yes? Because you know what? For any one of you, if you put together a group, they will do all the hotel, all the 5-star treatment for all of your group there. Does it make sense? It was a 5-star treatment. They put us in a nice hotel, picked us up in the morning on time every day, chauffeured us to the training where everything was set up professionally, okay? Every break had food for us to eat. Every lunch, food was there, organized. We all had our name badges. Every break, again, after lunch, we had food. In the evening, they chauffeured us to a nice dinner. They chauffeur us back to the room for the next day. That's how all of your people will be treated. So you have to have vision, okay? You have to have vision beyond what you think you're capable of. Make sense? Don't be afraid to dream big. On the 13th, we're going to have a first selling seminar. I plan to make at least $100,000 from that seminar. Okay? Because I plan to have at least 1 or 2 of my clients who are going to be there to listen to that seminar. That we're going to put together nice, hors d'oeuvres and everything for that night. Put on your list. Mr. Philip Hu will do a special training for us the very next day, because on the 13th is a selling seminar for the client in which you're going to come and be a great spectator and listen, but the clients will be in the front of the room, okay? And it's meant for your client, okay? All right, it's meant for your client. So then after that, we'll have the salespeople there to take care of your client. And if you have any A+ clients, we'll have time for one-on-ones with Mr. Philip Hu to be able to really close that client, okay? All right? But the very next day, we're going to have a training for everyone there's a special private training for everyone the next day. So just remember on that day, March 13th and 14th, okay, is the first selling seminar here. On the 13th, okay, it's going to be at 7 p.m., 6:30 to 7. So they get here by 6:30, all right? We're going to start 30 minutes after to allow people to get through traffic, okay? So we're going to start at 6:30. And then the next day is at 10 a.m. Next day is just at 10 a.m. That's all, okay? 10 to 1. His normal training time is 10 to 1. And then the selling seminar is around 6:30, okay? But we will allow for our clients to get there. So whoever you think fit the category of a client, on the 13th is a selling seminar. You know, if you were very good, you would come and learn the seminar, because then you just learn the sales approaches that he would take to talk to the client. Does that make sense? The reason why I can stand in the front of the room is not because I've been doing it longer than you. I haven't. I just passed my exam on Friday, okay? You know, the reason why I'm able to train is I try to learn and absorb it, because I know I have to be a leader. So I have no choice. If I'm a leader, I better learn it fast. So I'm sitting there reading through this stuff, talking to Jason, talking to Philip, and I'm lucky that I spend a lot of quality time with Philip too. So I'm learning it, and I'm what you call it. But your ability to give the seminar yourself, your ability to do that will get you to that next level. Does that make sense? Okay, your ability to get you to the next level. All right, so a couple announcements before we let off, okay? Because we're down to our last minute. Next week again is our career night again. Remember, every other week is our career night. Okay? The reason I do a career night, and just so you know what I cover, is I just cover a career night to explain, you know, what financial planning is, what the advantages of you know, what type of money can be made, you know, what kind of things that we could do for the client, what type of products we could help the client with and people with, you know, how you get your license and how you get into the industry. It's pretty low key, it's pretty informative, it's a pretty good thing, fun thing, but it's there for you to build your business. Does that make sense? It's really there for you to build your business. So I'd like to see a bunch of Indian people there, and I'd like to see a bunch of Caucasian American people there. I'd like to see a bunch of Vietnamese people there. I'd like to see a bunch of Spanish people there, of Filipino. I'd like to see, you know, a good mixed group, because I would like to see you grow your organization. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to give you one last tip about getting a lot of business. When I started the company for real estate, not insurance, but for real estate, a lot of my clients came from my students. I taught real estate principles. Did any of you get your license through my real estate principles class? Anyone in here? Oh, you did, right? You too, right? Okay. Well, I taught real estate principles since I was 20 years old. Do you know the reason I started teaching real estate principles when I was 20 years old? Is no agent wanted to work for a 20-year-old broker, okay? And so it was very hard for me to recruit. So I was a 20-year-old broker with a no-name company and no agent. So it's very hard for me to recruit. So the only people that would come join my company are students. So I started teaching real estate principles at 20 years old, okay? I sort of winged it. But I found out that through the years of teaching real estate principles, a lot of students that never became agents, because, you know, trust me, not a lot of people, you know, have the drive to get their license and become an agent. You know, just there's an attrition there. But a lot of those people I built good relationships with, and they ended up becoming my clients and referring me to a lot of their friends and family because they saw me as their teacher. Okay, so even though you may not like, you know, building a team and recruiting, that's actually a huge source of business, a huge source of business. And another thing that I want everyone to eventually like doing is don't be afraid to be in front of the room. Okay, do not ever be afraid to be in front of the room. The reason I say that is, for some reason, when you're in front of the room, people think you know what you're talking about. Okay? And they see you almost as a leader figure. Okay? And when you're able to be in front of the room, you know, then it's so much easier for you to sell and recruit, because you are the person in front of the room and they seem to trust the people in front of the room. So in the course of the next year, I'm going to be doing career nights, but I want some of you to eventually step up and start doing career nights. I want you to eventually step up and doing these trainings that I'm doing tonight, okay? So you can train the next group of people. So put yourself in position in the future, because I can't be standing up here doing it forever, okay? So I'm looking forward to having you take my spot So probably in the next 2 or 3 or 4 months, I'm going to start trading off and having you come up here and doing trainings and doing presentations for the group. Okay, because it'll just really make you a better speaker, but then it gets you more comfortable. So then when I start doing seminars with you once, twice, pretty soon you go do your own seminars. One of Philip's best producers who make $2 or $3 million a year, he does his own seminars in China. Does it make sense? He does his own seminars. And that's how he makes so much. So don't be afraid to step up into a leadership role. Does that make sense? Okay? Because I'm not going to be here forever. Okay? All right, guys. Well, thank you. I hope to see you next week. Career night next week, okay? Starts at 6. And then we always do a great career night. Okay? People are always excited. So come for career night next week, okay? All right. And get licensed, everyone.